Tonight, the surprise move here in Washington on the eve of Robert Mueller. Also ahead, severe storms slammed the East Coast, the rare tornado on Cape Cod. The motel roof ripped off, witnesses describing the harrowing scene. The man killed by a falling tree. Hundreds of thousands without power tonight from Wisconsin to New York to New England. The major turn tonight, the Ole Miss college student found dead, and now the 22-year-old suspect under arrest tonight, what authorities have just revealed. Here in D.C., that unexpected twist on the eve of Robert Mueller before the American people. What Mueller has now asked for. John Carl at the White House. The urgent manhunt tonight after the American woman and her boyfriend were found dead on a road trip in Canada. Tonight, 2 young men who were thought to be missing are now suspects in more than one case. Jon Stewart grinning on the Hill tonight here in D.C. with Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell passing by. The major vote late today on the 9/11 first responders and their medical bills. The danger on the front lines of the opioid crisis in this country, the officer shot at a methadone clinic. The immigration flashpoint, neighbors forming a human chain, protecting a father from ICE, his young son right there with him, and the other moment, smashing through the window of a car. He championed Brexit. Now Boris Johnson is the next British Prime Minister. Many have compared him to President Trump. And what you saw right here last night, and what you did afterward, it's America Strong.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from our nation's capital.
And good evening tonight from Washington. All eyes on Robert Mueller first thing in the morning, testifying before the American people. And that surprise today, what Mueller asked for in the 11th hour. We'll have more on that in a moment. But we're going to begin tonight with the severe storms turning deadly, slamming the east. And look at this tonight, a rare tornado on Cape Cod today. Dangerous winds, you can see them right there, ripping the roof off one of the Cape's iconic motels. Here are some of the aerials coming in tonight, the aftermath. You can see the destruction there. This spinning water spout in South Yarmouth, driving rain and winds up to 90 miles an hour across the Cape. It's the same system that flooded the streets of Brooklyn, New York overnight with several feet of water, downing trees across the east, killing a man in Maryland. Tonight, hundreds of thousands are without power, and ABC's Lindsay Davis with the pictures coming in now from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Tonight, powerful storms striking the New England coast. Winds gusting up to 90 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh.
Water spouts churning off Cape Cod, where a rare tornado touched down in the town of Yarmouth.
You want to take cover and take this very seriously.
Watch as the roof is ripped off this motel.
It pulled pieces of the awning off, one at a time, and then it took the whole section of the roof.
All part of the same system that slammed the New York City area at the height of Monday's evening commute. Waterfalls in the subways. This motorist used a traffic cone to try and clear a blocked storm drain on the Long Island Expressway. The storms knocking out power to more than 400,000 across the region, sending trees crashing onto homes across New Jersey.
There was the child in the back bedroom who narrowly missed being struck by the tree.
Tragically, a 17-year-old boy was killed in this house fire. Candles may have started the blaze. And in Carroll County, Maryland, a falling tree killed an 89-year-old man in his driveway.
And Lindsay Davis is with us live tonight from Howell Township, New Jersey. Major damage there as well. And Lindsay, authorities are telling you it'll take some time before the power is restored.
That's right, David. Dramatic scenes playing out like this throughout the area. I mean, you can see this house clearly uninhabitable. The insulation bursting through that exterior wall. More than 100,000 customers in New Jersey alone still without power. Utility crews in this area are busy trying to restore power, but we're told in some of the hardest hit areas like right here, it could take several days, David.
All right, Lindsay Davis leading us off tonight. Lindsay, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. She's from Detroit tonight. Tens of thousands without power as well in Michigan. She's tracking it all for us. Ginger?
David, skies are getting dark here in Detroit. There's some strong storms that are about to move through, but the really strong, severe storms in South and North Carolina tonight, that's where we find the severe thunderstorm watch that goes right up to the Virginia state line. You can see damaging winds inside there in excess of 70 miles per hour. Much cooler, though, behind that front, so once you pay the price, you get the drier, cooler air, David.
All right, Ginger, thank you. There's also been a major turn tonight in the murder of a young college student in Mississippi. Her body found by a lake 20 miles from the Ole Miss campus. Tonight, police have now arrested a fellow student, 22 years old, charging him with murder. ABC's Marcus Moore is in Mississippi.
Tonight, a shocking arrest in the death of 21-year-old student Allie Costa. Her classmate at Ole Miss, 22-year-old Brandon Thiesfeld, now charged with murder. The son of a Texas doctor, today shackled at his hands and feet, appearing before a judge. We tried talking to Dr. Daniel Thiesfeld after he met with his son. He's being held in the county jail, but he had no comment. Allie Costa was on campus this summer taking classes, last seen on Friday. An officer on routine patrol finding her body the next day near this lake popular with students. It's about 20 miles off campus. And it was off of this curvy, dusty road where that sheriff's deputy found Allie's body. This area, very secluded. Authorities have not revealed a motive or whether the two knew each other, but both were students in the School of Business. Tonight, Allie Costa's high school classmates back home near St. Louis are remembering a warm and loyal friend.
Allie was just very fun and outgoing, very friendly girl. I'm just gonna miss how the fact that she was always there for me if I needed to talk to her.
And Marcus joins us now from the campus of Ole Miss in Oxford. And Marcus, you're now hearing the suspect's family is now speaking out tonight.
Yeah, David, late tonight, Thiesfeld's father told Dallas station WFAA that his son is innocent, and he implored the public to withhold judgment. And we have also learned that Memphis, Tennessee police arrested the 22-year-old at a gas station on Monday morning. David?
Marcus, more tonight. Marcus, thank you. And as I mentioned at the top here in Washington tonight, all eyes will soon be on Robert Mueller, testifying tomorrow before the American people. He did not find collusion, but on obstruction, he said he would have cleared the president if he could have. And today, on the eve of his testimony, Mueller had a last-minute request. It made immediate news. And here's our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, tonight.
Just before his long-awaited testimony, former special counsel Robert Mueller had a late request. He asked for his longtime aide, Aaron Zebley, to be sworn in alongside him. Republicans objected. Congressman Jim Jordan tweeting, "You don't get to change the rules right before kickoff." In the end, a compromise. Zebley will be able to sit next to Mueller and confer with him, but will not testify. Mueller himself didn't want this day to come.
Any testimony from this office would not go beyond our report.
But the special counsel's in-person testimony is what Democrats have been waiting for. They assume most Americans have not read his report.
For many Americans, just learning what's in the report will be a revelation.
Today, even the FBI director acknowledged he hasn't read the whole thing.
I've reviewed it. I wouldn't say I've read every single word.
As a longtime public servant and FBI director for more than a decade, Mueller has testified before Congress 88 times. When he takes the oath tomorrow, President Trump will be watching. Today, he clearly had Mueller on his mind.
$40 million, interview 500 people, they got nothing.
But Mueller did outline 11 instances where the president may have obstructed justice.
If we had had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so.
Democrats hope Mueller will reveal whether he would have charged the president with a crime if it weren't for the Justice Department rule against prosecuting a sitting president. Attorney General Bill Barr ultimately took it upon himself to clear the president. Democrats will likely ask Mueller if he wanted Barr to do that or whether he intended for Congress to make that call.
So let's go across town now to Jonathan Karl at the White House. And John, obviously what folks at home want to know tonight, are they really going to learn anything new tomorrow from Robert Mueller? What's this going to look like?
Mueller's going to be testifying, David, before two different committees. Democrats see this as a big and important moment, and it will be fascinating to see him answer questions for the first time from Congress about his report. Democrats were practicing for the hearing earlier today, but David, Mueller has made it very clear that he does not intend to say anything beyond what he wrote in that report.
All right, we'll see first thing in the morning. Jon Karl, our thanks to you, and ABC News will carry the Robert Mueller hearings live beginning at 8:15 tomorrow morning. I'll be joining George and John and the entire team. Of course, we'll see you first thing in the morning. In the meantime, the other major news this Tuesday night from Washington involves Jon Stewart and the 9/11 first responders he's been fighting for. In this image, just before the vote in the Senate today, Jon Stewart smiling as Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell walks by. Stewart's voice put pressure on lawmakers to act. ABC's Mary Bruce on the Hill tonight.
On Capitol Hill today, applause and a huge sigh of relief for the heroes of 9/11. The Senate passing legislation to permanently fund care for first responders and survivors.
There have been too many funerals, too many hospices. These families deserve better.
Comedian Jon Stewart has been fighting for them for years, shaming lawmakers for their inaction.
They did their jobs. 18 years later, do yours.
At his side last month, Detective Luis Alvarez.
You all said you would never forget. Well, I'm here to make sure that you don't.
He did not live to see today. Today, for first responder John Feel, an emotional farewell to this fight.
Yes, I cried with John, but that was to exhale. That was to get 18 years of pain and suffering out, and I believe it's out.
It's been a long fight. Mary Bruce live at the Capitol for us tonight, and Mary, a clear sign of relief for the first responders, and this funding will now last for decades.
Well, David, every 5 years they have had to fight here to replenish this fund. That ends today. These first responders will now get the care they need for the rest of their lives. David.
All right, Mary Bruce has been on this from the beginning. Mary, thank you. There was a dramatic new development today in the investigation of that American woman and her boyfriend found dead while on a road trip in Canada. This surveillance, the last known images of the young couple, and tonight 2 young men who at first were thought to be missing are now suspects in this case and in another case too. Matt Gutman is in Canada tonight.
Tonight, that stunning twist in the investigation into the young couple gunned down by their van in remote British Columbia, and a third mysterious death. Canadian authorities revealing the teenagers, Briar Schmigelski and Cam McLeod, whose torched camper was found near that unidentified burned body, are not missing, but now wanted as suspects by police.
Is there anything that links these two separate events, the Deese and Fowler murders and the death of this unidentified man?
Not that we're aware of it right now.
They're the link.
They're the link.
And that manhunt turning urgent tonight. Police say the two were last spotted within the past couple of days on surveillance in Saskatchewan, over 1,000 miles away, driving a gray Toyota RAV4.
If you spot Briar or Cam, consider them dangerous. Do not approach. Take no action and call immediately 911.
The last known images of China Deese and her boyfriend, Lucas Fowler, at this gas station. You can see Deese cleaning the van's windows while Lucas pumps gas. At one point, the two sharing that sweet embrace just about a day before they were brutally murdered.
And given the thousands of miles the two traveled in Canada, police tell us that they could be anywhere by now, and that's why we're seeing this massive manhunt. Just to give you a sense, David, of how quickly this investigation has been moving, just this morning, the 2 teens were considered at risk and missing. Now they're suspects considered dangerous and possibly armed. David.
Matt Gutman tonight in Canada. Matt, thank you. And we turn next this evening to an immigration flashpoint. Tonight, the images from one Nashville neighborhood where ICE had arrived, neighbors then forming a human chain to try to protect a father, his young son right there. This lasted for hours. And here's ABC's Steve Otsensami now.
What you're looking at is neighbors working together to keep ICE out and protect residents who feel afraid in their own homes. Near Nashville, they formed this human chain, successfully blocking 2 ICE agents from taking away a father who's lived here for the last 14 years. He and his son were hiding inside the white van.
More than half the people who showed up were just neighbors who wanted to help their own neighbor out.
Similar scenes are playing out in cities across the country. This family in Kansas City was broadcasting live on Facebook as ICE agents broke through the car window.
I told him not to refuse because I didn't want them to shoot him in front of my kids.
While federal immigration agents try to take suspected undocumented immigrants into custody,
Show me the order.
there are bystanders protesting and recording the drama on their cell phones. Here it was a mother of 2 detained by ICE agents in Los Angeles. One point that's being underlined tonight, the number of removal orders carried out by the current administration still falls below the number carried out under President Obama. David?
All right, Steve, thank you. Overseas tonight, a new prime minister soon in the UK. Boris Johnson was a champion of Brexit, and many have compared him to President Trump. But what he said about the president before, ABC senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell from London tonight.
He's one of Britain's most controversial and divisive figures. And tonight,
Boris Johnson is elected.
Boris Johnson is set to become the new Prime Minister.
We are once again going to believe in ourselves and what we can achieve. Like some slumbering giant, we are going to rise and ping off the guy ropes of self-doubt and negativity.
He led the Brexit campaign to bring Britain out of the European Union, never shy for the cameras, even when things go horribly wrong.
Go power!
But to his opponents, he's an ambitious philanderer, unfaithful in marriage, accused of racism and of having no fixed principles. Many have compared him to Donald Trump, though he was once deeply critical.
I think he's portraying a quite stupefying ignorance that makes him, frankly, unfit to hold the office of President of the United States.
Now Johnson embraces President Trump, and it's mutual.
Good man. He's tough and he's smart. They're saying Britain Trump.
So tomorrow, Theresa May moves out of Downing Street and Boris Johnson moves in. But he'll inherit more than the House and the job. He'll also have to deliver on his promise to deliver Brexit by Halloween. David?
Ian panel tonight. Ian, news tonight about those 5 teenagers who admitted to killing a father by dropping a boulder from a highway overpass. A judge revealing disturbing messages they shared after he died. Here's ABC's Alex Perez.
Tonight, a Michigan judge ruling 4 teens accused of throwing rocks from an overpass, killing a driver below, will be tried as adults.
The proposal for juvenile sentencing is rejected,
saying they allegedly showed no remorse, citing their Snapchats in his decision.
51 times LOL, LMAO, or ha-ha appear in the messages, and many after it was learned that they had killed somebody.
It was back in 2017. Kenneth White, a father of 4, was on I-75 on his way home from work when a 6-pound rock struck his vehicle.
This is the size of the rock that took Kenny's life.
A 5th, older teen is already being tried as an adult.
David, the teens now have until August 20th to decide whether they will accept a plea deal as adults or go to trial. David?
Alex, thank you. To the index of other news tonight, into the deadly police shootout at a methadone clinic in Baltimore. Authorities releasing this body cam video. A gunman killing a lab technician and then firing on police.
The gun down! I'm hitting the stomach.
A sergeant was wounded in the stomach. He is now recovering. The gunman was killed. He was a patient at that clinic. To that rescue from a burning car in Fremont, California, the SUV crashing into a tree, bursting into flames. An officer tried to put out the fire and save the driver. That officer then climbing through the back of the SUV, pulling the driver all the way out from behind the wheel. And the alarming satellite images tonight of part of the Arctic on fire. Enhanced satellite images showing wildfires across parts of the Arctic, including Alaska, Siberia, and Greenland. A UN agency reporting more than 100 intense fires over the past 6 weeks alone, many burning further north than normal, and scientists tonight pointing to climate change. Finally tonight, America Strong, a son serving overseas, and what he asked his mother for. She wondered how many other sons and daughters overseas need the same thing. It was last night here you met Deborah Houseleden from Malvern, Pennsylvania.
When the shoes
and that simple request from her son, who was serving in Afghanistan.
He needed a pair of sneakers because his sneakers were starting to wear out.
The sneakers he'd been issued were worn through.
We said we'd gladly send him a pair of sneakers over, and we asked about the other men in his platoon, and he said, same situation.
Deborah got an idea and got to work.
Within a week, we had Sneakers for Soldiers formed.
Her nonprofit, Sneakers for Soldiers. Shipping sneakers to troops overseas. There's now a waiting list.
Such a basic, simple thing as sneakers.
So many of our troops with their new sneakers, grateful, sending letters and photos back to that mom, Debbie. And after our report last night, we heard from so many of you. Phil Johnson writing, Deborah, you are a real hero. Moms go above and beyond. Thank you. Margarita Loyo, I'm an Army mom of 2 soldiers. This story brings joy to my heart. And Donna Howard wrote, donation just made. And tonight, one more message from that mom.
Hi, David. It's Debbie Houseleden.
Packing up more sneakers today.
The support has been overwhelming since you aired our story on World News last night.
Since just last night, nearly $100,000 in donations from nearly every state. More than 2,000 emails of support.
I just wanted to say thank you to you and to all your viewers for helping to support us and our soldiers.
A mom on a mission, and so many of you at home helping her get there. One pair of sneakers at a time. Well, thank you, Deborah, and thanks to everyone at home. Your generosity is really something. Again, the program is called Sneakers for Soldiers. See you tomorrow. Good night.